I am convinced that the most powerful thing in human history now and in all of human history is the power of ideas and the power of stories. I think the most powerful way to convey ideas to people is through storytelling.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about your experience with the power of storytelling, your creative process, and some of the impact that you feel like you can have by telling the stories that you're telling.
Yeah. So I agree with you 100%, Brian. First of all, yes, content in general, because now it's content. It's not just film. It's not television. It's content, whether it's a minute long or whether it's 2 hours long. It's certainly a very powerful medium, and it's a blessing and a curse, because when it's powerful and effective and compelling, it's amazing, right?
Yeah.
But when it
Yeah.
sucks, it's terrible. You're either a hero or a goat.
For sure. Yeah.
And that's kind of the upside and the downside of being in this business and being in a position where you're exposing yourself emotionally and otherwise. You're opening your window in your soul to the world by sharing your ideas and by sharing your stories.
Yeah.
I just to talk a little bit about my process when I moved out here. And by the way, I moved out here with the advice of a federal judge who was the first Hispanic federal judge to be appointed by the bench by Jimmy Carter. His name was
that Benavidez?
Hippo.
Oh, yeah. Garcia. Yeah. A mutual friend of ours and one of my podcast guests, I think, clerked for him, Julian Gomez.
Yeah, that's right. I clerked for Hippo as well, my last year of law school. And he always wanted to be a movie director. And he told me, hey, Chapa, if you're not passionate about practicing like you are about movies, why don't you get in the movie business? He said, don't take the bar, get your law degree and get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
He ended up passing away 2 weeks before I graduated law school. He was sick, he had diabetes, and I took that as a sign. And so I moved out here not to the day, but close to the month, about 19 years ago. And the first thing I realized, I'd had some experience, obviously, making short films and writing stuff and reading and doing the things I was talking about in San Antonio and Austin. But the first thing I realized is if I don't pick a lane, I'm going to get swallowed up and lost in this business, because I'm an outsider. I'm a fringe guy. I didn't go to film school, but I've got to lean into something that I understand and that inspires me and that I believe in. And that's how I really started to lean on my Latino roots and my Latino culture. And when I got out here, I realized there wasn't that many filmmakers. And yet, even though the Hispanic market is the most aggressive consumer of media across all platforms, there wasn't a lot of people making films that spoke and celebrated the culture.
Yeah.
And so that's where my creative process started, in terms of, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to get really good at. So I staked a flag in the ground. I named my company Hippo Films after Hippo. Everybody's like, why did you name your company after hippopotamus? I said, I didn't. I named it after a federal judge who wanted to be a movie director.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And it's still my holding company. Mucho Mas is still owned by Hippo. It's a company that I will never let go of.
Nice.
Because of Hippo and the things that I learned from him and the inspiration he gave me to have the guts to move out here.
Yeah.
But going back to process, that's how I really leaned into inclusive narratives and seeing a lack thereof. And I was like, man, this is something I understand. I grew up on the border. I'm a half-breed. My dad's Mexicano. My mom's German. But I'm very connected to my Latino culture. And it's something that's very important to me.